Hey everybody, it's Mike here from The Art of Guitar. I'm here today with a video that's going to be really embarrassing for me. I have to admit it. But the good news is that I've felt this kind of embarrassment before, actually many times in my life. But specifically, this kind of feeling hit me the very first time way back in the day when my old teenage metal band Sanctus went in to record our very first demo. We didn't have much money and we had to find a studio in Minneapolis that could get us a 3-song demo for under the budget that we had, which was not very much, like I said. We met a guy named Bill Bailey, and he helped us reach our goal and stay under budget. It was really cool to work with him, but we didn't know what to expect. It was our very first time in the studio. So when we got there, he told us that the best way to record economically is for all of us to get in a room together and just play the songs like we're at band practice. And he'll be in the other room recording us, doing his recording engineer stuff. So each one of our instruments would go to a different track, but we play it all at the same time to save time and money. That meant that the bulk of the recording would be done quickly with very little overdubs needed afterwards. So we ran through the first tune about 3 times. We were feeling pretty good about it because we're used to playing that way, like I said, at band practice. So we all went to the control room and he played it back and it sounded pretty good. We were all just excited to hear ourselves being played back in a professional recording studio. That is until he hit the solo button on my track, and all you could hear was my guitar for a few seconds, and it was like a kick to the gut. My part sounded sloppy, it sounded off time, it didn't even sound like I was playing the right song in a few spots, and I was just like, what is this crazy sound coming out of these speakers? And then he went and soloed the bass guitar, that sounded sloppy, then he soloed out the vocal track, I believe, and he just kept soloing out different parts to try to mix it a little bit. So I can recall Bill kind of laughing and being like, yeah, nobody ever likes to hear themselves soloed out like that. But when he put it back into the mix, it sounded pretty good. So that was really an interesting lesson to learn. That really pushed us to practice really hard. And the next demo that we did with Bill Bailey again turned out a lot tighter because we got such a big lesson. Oh, we are. Well, I'd love to say that was the only time that happened, but yesterday I was listening back to some tracks because Sanctus did a reunion show recently, and the recording engineer recorded us from the board and he sent me all the tracks. So I pulled them up, I mixed them a little bit, I started to solo out our parts, and I got to my solo and I felt that same kick to the stomach feeling all over again. I couldn't believe it. I thought it's got to just be the first song. So I went to the next tune, same thing, the next song. Couple really embarrassing parts on that one, and so on and so on. I practiced a lot for this show, especially on my couch. I would sit and watch like Stranger Things and just practice, But there's such a big difference when you play from your couch or your bedroom to the stage. There are so many factors, you have nerves, you've got adrenaline rushing through you. People are watching you, so you kind of feel people's eyes on you. There's the excitement. There might be a few drinks involved that can alter your playing, but a lot of factors can affect how you play on stage versus how you play at home. But I really have no excuse because I've been doing this since puberty, you know what I mean? So it should be second nature to me. But it just goes to show you no matter how long you've been playing, you could still have these moments. So what I want to do today is I want to show you what I wanted it to sound like, my expectation, versus what I ended up hearing on the soloed out track the other day that made me feel terrible for a while. So I think the best way to do this is to first play you the solo that I recorded earlier today and show you how it should sound. Now I'm going to show you some footage from the concert, and I'm going to solo out my guitar, so that's all you're going to be able to hear. So you're going to see all the other guys playing, but you're only going to hear my guitar track. Goodness. Oh, make it stop. So in the beginning, right off the bat, listen to this. I didn't even hit the first note right. That's kind of a bad omen when you miss the very first note. I'm just supposed to slide into it like this. So I kind of ghosted my way into it, somehow it pulled it off, it kind of made the right note. But yeah, missing the first note's always a bummer. I totally messed up that climb. It's like climbing a ladder and just missing one of the steps. So I'm supposed to go like this. It's a real standard climb, so it's kind of funny that I completely botched one of those notes. Okay, the next part's not so bad. So that's just a bunch of octave slides, but it's supposed to be this. So I'm glad I didn't mess that part up too bad, but the next part is another story. The worst part is that I got like this rush of adrenaline at that spot, and I walked right up to the front of the stage, put my foot on the monitor, and I was like, I'm gonna nail this, and then this happens. So that part's supposed to be like this. For some reason, I just tripped up, and all of a sudden that cycle, that pattern just fell apart. The next part too, same story. See, it's supposed to be smooth like. It's not easy, but once you get in the flow of it, it should just flow. In this case, it did not flow at all. That was harsh to listen to. That last part is actually kind of a tricky lick, but once again, it's just a circular pattern. So I thought it would be really fun to take the solo that I did today, where I did it right, and try to put that over the top of my live performance. Kind of pull like a Kiss Alive. You know how that Kiss Alive album isn't really all live? I think they pumped in some audience cheers, if not all of them. I'm not really sure. But they would overdub certain parts if they made mistakes, I believe, and they really fixed it up. A lot of bands do that for their live albums. They could tweak it a little bit after the fact. So here's what the live performance would have looked and sounded like if I would have done it the way I wanted to do it. Now, there is a lesson underlying all of this, I promise. So the way I look at it is a lot of musicians I know, personally even, don't like to go back and listen to their old performances, let alone soloing out their part and really dissecting what they did at the show. The reason why is kind of obvious. It's painful. It's like looking at the cold, hard truth. If you made mistakes, it really hurts, sometimes. And it can even take away from your memory of that night. It might have been a great night like this was. We had fun. We were smiling at each other. We were vibing. The crowd was into it. The music was sounding great at the venue. But when you go back and you pick it apart, it could really start to affect how you remember things. That can even get rid of a lot of good feelings that you had. Some people get psyched out and they'll think more about their mistakes if they do what I did and go back and listen to your solo track. So sometimes if people aren't mentally ready for this, it can affect them. But if you're really dedicated on improving and getting as tight as possible, I do recommend, if you have the mind for it, going back and listening to your soloed out tracks and seeing what you liked, what you didn't like. Because, for every mistake I made, there's probably 20 things that went right. You know what I mean? So it's not all about picking yourself apart and feeling terrible. It's also about going, okay, that part sounded better than I remembered. So let me know in the comments section if you ever had this experience where you played a show and you thought you did really well until you heard the recording of it the next day. I would love to hear your stories and how you overcame it, if you overcame it. It'd be a really good lesson for the rest of us. So thank you for watching, everyone. It was painful, but fun to go through it with you guys. It's like sharing my embarrassment sort of lessens it for some reason for me. And hopefully it was a good lesson for you too. So thank you very much. See ya. Bye.